Tonight, taking a tariff threat seriously.
We agreed to intensify negotiations in the coming weeks.
Ottawa's response to the latest trade war escalation. Plus, incoming care package.
We were just all willing to do whatever we could to make sure that people had shoes and boots and sweatshirts.
Lambton County's supply shipment for wildfire relief. And embracing a classic.
You're driving around in vintage vehicles, why not look the part?
It's a Model T takeover in London.
CTV News with Carlyle Fiset.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. We begin tonight with the latest on a trade war escalation and the reaction in Ottawa. The Prime Minister says he spoke with the U.S. President, agreeing to intensify trade talks after Donald Trump threatened new 50% tariffs on a range of Canadian products. With more, here's Judy Trin.
A source close to the government tells CTV News the Prime Minister was caught off guard by the announcement of new 50% tariffs.
I spoke with President Trump earlier this morning. We agreed to intensify negotiations in the coming weeks.
The tariffs will impact more than 500 additional products, from hockey sticks to wine to cement. That's about 5% or $28 billion worth of Canadian exports.
Only response to the way they've treated our farmers and our people. Canada's been very, very tough on us over the years, for many years, and no other president's done anything about it. I mean, in all fairness to them, they need us to survive.
The opposition leader says the new duties are unjustified and wrong, and is calling for all parties to work together to prevent them from happening. The Carney government has already made several concessions. It's splitting revenues on the Gordie Howe Bridge before it recoups the cost of building it. The digital services tax has been scrapped, and the Online Streaming Act rolled back. But the Trump administration says irritants like the provincial alcohol ban and supply management in the dairy sector remain.
Things that do not fundamentally commit to resolve these issues, maybe just talk about them some more. And for us, we want them fixed.
Carney wants debilitating tariffs on steel, aluminum, and autos removed, and CUSMA preserved, but says putting U.S. liquor back on shelves will be up to the provinces.
The decision to change that, first and foremost, will be taken by the provinces themselves, each individually, and should only be taken, in my judgment, as part of an overall agreement.
Carney did not rule out retaliatory action, which a former Trudeau policy advisor says could be effective.
There are approximately 500 products that they're applying tariffs to from Canada, none of which are oil, none of which are critical minerals, the things that they know that if the costs of astronomically rise, that it will drastically affect their industry.
The Carney government will have less than a month to negotiate its way out of these new U.S. tariffs. They're set to take effect August 19th. Judy Trin, CTV News, Ottawa.
The wide-ranging impact of these tariffs are felt across industries and borders. With more on the financial hit up to this point and how much more these new tariffs could add on, here's Adrian Gobriel.
From tariffs on Canadian dairy and cereal to made-in-Canada plastics to additional swings at Canadian wood products.
All of this is extra taxes that American consumers and businesses are going to have to pay.
The tariff campaign launched by the Trump administration in early 2025 has upended North America's integrated trade relationship, rocking once reliable supply chains while inflating costs for consumers on both sides of the border. Trump's tariffs thus far are estimated to be costing the average U.S. household between $1,400 and $2,400 Canadian dollars annually. And that could spike if these new tariffs go into effect in less than 30 days.
Probably the one that's going to have the biggest impact is tariffs on Canadian cereals and dairy. This is going to drive up grocery prices even further for American consumers. It's really going to hurt American families.
North of the border, wallets here are also feeling the pinch. Canadian households are absorbing an estimated $2,300 to $2,700 in higher annual costs since the tariffs came into effect.
Free trade benefits people on both sides of the border. The situation we have right now with the trade war is that it's making life worse for Canadian families and for American families.
The tariff cycle has also impacted the Canadian economy. Economists are estimating a reduction in Canada's GDP by 1.5 to 2%. The country also lost roughly 61,000 manufacturing jobs since January of last year, when President Trump's second term began.
There's a reason why we need to hold our breath here. There's a reason why we have to take this seriously. I can imagine the pain that so many of the exporters are feeling this morning. Our supply chains are suffering right now.
As Canada's economy hangs in the balance, many market watchers believe the federal government's response needs to be measured, in part to protect the cost of living for Canadian consumers.
Economists point out that there was no significant market reaction following President Donald Trump's most recent tariff ultimatum. One theory is that the markets may believe that Washington and Ottawa could reach a trade deal in the weeks ahead. Only time will tell. Adrian Gobriel, CTV News.
And these latest trade war developments are changing plans for the Gordie Howe Bridge opening later this week. Canadian officials say Friday's ceremony will still go ahead, but in light of American tariff action, they say it would be inappropriate to conduct a celebratory event involving both countries, so no U.S. officials will be invited. They say traffic is still scheduled to begin crossing the bridge on Monday. Organizers in Lambton County say a shipment of supplies is now on its way north, supporting people impacted by wildfires. With more on their grassroots campaign and how quickly they filled 2 tractor trailers, here's Sean Irvin.
The devastating images of forest fires engulfing communities in northern Ontario have touched us all. But for one Lambton County woman, the pictures sparked her into action when she realized that co-workers at another trucking auction depot were residing near the flames.
I do have colleagues currently working during the day at our company and then fighting fires at night.
But soon after an initial social media post, it became clear Lambton County wanted to do as much as it could to help anyone displaced by the fires. By Friday, a tractor trailer donated by Shriver's employer had begun to fill with contributions.
And then Saturday, right at 8 a.m., the container doors were opened and cars were coming in nonstop throughout the day.
One of the first groups to step up was a church community led by Heather Scully.
We were just all willing to do whatever we could to make sure that people had shoes and boots and sweatshirts for when it starts getting cool.
As they worked, the smoke from northern fires hung over Lambton County, yet no one was deterred.
We were just in awe of what happened and how that bin filled so quickly.
Despite the haze, the donations kept coming. A second truck arrived as the first left for the north.
So what? We're suffering a little bit of smoke. There's people up there in the thick of the smoke, and they've lost everything.
Now, with the second transport ready to depart, the call for help has ended. But Lambton County has a challenge for those looking to give surrounding London.
Well, this is the end of our 2 containers. However, we do recommend that people step up in their communities if they want to help. If you get the word out, the communities do seem to want to give back.
Near Petrolia, Sean Irvin, CTV News.
That's a great good news story. As we take a look at conditions in our area tonight, we've had showers and thunderstorms rumbling through and some pockets of heavy rainfall, gusty winds as well. We were under some watches and warnings earlier in the day. Still some strong thunderstorms north of Toronto, where a thunderstorm watch remains in effect. And there's a tornado warning in parts of Quebec, Mont Tremblant, under a tornado warning on the hour. As we take a look at our satellite radar, we still have some showers and thunderstorms coming into Huron County. Southern Bruce, you have some rain, so the risk will remain in the area over the next couple of hours. This band right here bringing in some heavier storms headed towards Lambton County right now. So Lambton Shores, you're likely seeing that starting to roll in. Temperatures cooling off a bit tonight. We have a northwest wind developing with the passage of the front. The front has already moved through the London area and will continue to trek southward. Temperatures will be dropping off tonight. Coming up, I'll take you through the forecast. A comfortable day on the way for tomorrow, but winds out of the northwest will be quite gusty at times, keeping things cool along the shoreline of Lake Huron. I'll take you through the forecast coming up. Carlyle?
Thank you, Julie. London police say they arrested one man earlier today who they say was walking around with a weapon in the city's West End. According to police, they responded near Hyde Park Road and Valletta Street around the noon hour, blocking off traffic. They say after a couple hours, the man was taken into custody with no injuries reported, and further details expected to be released tomorrow. A Western University researcher is coming out against development charges, arguing there are better ways to fund local infrastructure like roads and sewers. With more on what that could mean for new home builds, here's Brian Bicknell.
If you're buying a brand new home, you may be paying more than your share when it comes to development charges. That's according to at least one expert in how municipalities operate.
We say that growth should pay for growth. But I say everybody should pay for growth. We all benefit from it in some ways, and we all should share the costs of our infrastructure in our community.
Development charges, or DCs, are fees municipalities levy to cover the cost of infrastructure and other public amenities. In a report for the C.D. Howe Institute, retired Western professor Andrew Sancton argues municipalities should reduce their reliance on DCs and adopt models that spread infrastructure costs. That could include user fees or long-term borrowing.
City of London website, it boasts about how the cost of borrowing per capita has been going down. London has huge reserves and is still charging big money. The other thing that could be done is the cost of wastewater and water supply systems could be paid for through increased user charges.
In London, the development charge on a new home is a little more than $50,000, and that is paid up front by the developer when the building permit is issued. That $50,000 is then tacked on to the price of the new home. The London Development Institute has long argued for a system that places less burden on developers and new home buyers.
The benefits for a new fire hall, a new recreational center, a new park needs to be spread out to taxpayers across the city, or the municipality, the City of London in this case, because we all benefit from development.
London's deputy mayor says reducing DCs means raising everyone's taxes.
I don't think homeowners are willing to start having a property tax increase to subsidize new growth build. If we're going to look at changes, we do, I think, have to look to the provincial and federal government to make that dedicated tax transfer.
And people say, well, why are houses so expensive? And people look at development charges.
Brian Bicknell, CTV News.
City Council spent more than 2 hours debating whether to explore hiring a City Hall deployed law enforcement team comprised of special constables.
I think our CIR team absolutely need backup. I have heard from them loud and clear. They need support in the field. Having those special constables will address a lot of the issues that they are experiencing.
The special constables would fill a law enforcement gap between London police and bylaw officers. Councillors voted 10-5 to have city staff report back early next year with a plan. Special constables might be able to do basic traffic enforcement in school zones, support encampment removals, and enforce bylaws and trespassing on city property.
The vagueness of what we're putting forward is going to potentially breed all kinds of conversations between now and what we're hearing is next spring.
I would rather work on enhancing our security, but not convinced that this is the way forward.
What we have is a different type of option available to the municipality that could serve the community in a different way, in an enhanced way, in a number of different areas that our staff will write a report back.
Aylmer police say they're investigating a suspicious car fire. These are viewer-submitted images. Police say emergency crews were called to a home this morning around 6:30 for a car on fire in the driveway. They say the vehicle was destroyed, later towed away, and they're asking anyone with useful information to contact them. Sarnia police say they're looking for someone accused in a stabbing attack in Centennial Park. They've provided this suspect description, saying a woman was stabbed in the arm yesterday afternoon. The suspect is described as a white man, 40 to 50 years old, about 5'11", wearing long shorts, a dark shirt, and a black baseball cap. London police closed down Highbury Avenue for about 6 hours this morning after a motorcycle crash. They say one person was taken to hospital with serious but non-life-threatening injuries. The road reopened just before 8 a.m. Police have not said how the crash happened or if any charges will be laid. Provincial police in Perth County say a missing toddler was found safe early this morning after going missing for 8 hours. They say the boy's parents contacted police around 6 p.m. yesterday, leading to a wide-ranging search involving a helicopter and drones. Police say the boy was found in a cornfield unharmed around 2 a.m. A decade-long search recently came to an end for a local man locating a piece of war history with a personal family connection. Scott Miller has more on the lost propeller blade, now found, and its new home.
On this day, 85 years ago, Andy Smart's uncle, Sergeant George Stevenson, crashed his plane in Scotland during a World War II training flight. After a decade of searching, Smart not only found, but repatriated one of the wooden propellers from his uncle's plane to the church he once belonged to.
The plane was completely destroyed by fire, with the exception of this propeller blade, which broke off. Okay, and the propeller blade was taken from someone in the Wanlugby village and put into a pub and hotel down there and hid for 4 years.
The wooden propeller served as an umbrella rack for years before Smart, who spent 10 years searching, finally tracked his uncle's lost propeller down at a library in Scotland. He contacted the owners, who agreed to give him the propeller to display at the church his uncle attended every Sunday after moving to Meaford from Scotland in 1928.
When he was killed, it was quite a blow to a lot of Meaford people who knew him, and also to the church, his fellow parishioners.
Stevenson was the first pilot from Meaford to join the war effort and the first to be killed overseas. Bringing a piece of him home means the world to parishioners at Christ Church Anglican in Meaford.
While Meaford is a small town, it's an international town. We have stories that go around the world, be that with the propeller, be that with our glass here.
Now, the glass Father Bedford speaks of are 4 memorial stained glass windows at the church, made up entirely of stained glass fragments recovered from European churches leveled during World War II. The church's minister at the time, Father Harold Appleyard, served as a military chaplain during the war. Seeing the destruction of centuries-old churches everywhere he went, he was granted permission to sift through the ruins and collect stained glass fragments to create new stained glass windows at his church back in Canada. The 4 memorial windows, made from thousands of shards of stained glass collected from more than 130 European churches, were unveiled shortly upon his return from war in 1946.
We have some of the oldest glass, by virtue of where it comes from, some of the oldest glass in North America, some pieces upwards of 700 or 800 years old. You can still, in fact, see the scorch marks from the fires that were inside the church.
A very special memorial service will be held here at Christ Church Anglican in Meaford to acknowledge the receipt of George Stevenson's propeller that somehow completes an already impressive set of memorials for Meaford's war dead.
They have pictures, they have stories, but now they actually have a piece of what he sacrificed.
In Meaford, Scott Miller, CTV News.
A collection of some of the finest remaining examples of the first ever mass-produced automobile has arrived in London. As Jerry Dewan reports, the Model Ts are in town for a whole week of events.
Seeing a Model T on the road is sure to turn heads and generate some smiles.
This is the car that put the world on wheels. This is the car that Henry Ford developed so everybody had a mode of transportation.
Brian Dowell brought this pristinely reconstituted Model T from St. Clair, Michigan on behalf of a friend. It was one of approximately 150 vehicles gathered on the Plunkett Estate in West London on Tuesday morning as part of the 69th annual Model T Ford Club International Tour. 15 million Model Ts were produced from 1908 to 1927, marking a monumental lifestyle change for many.
This was the first vehicle they would have ever owned. They were literally showing up at the dealership in horses and buggies and leaving with a Model T.
My dad bought it as a high school student in 1952. It was in a junkyard.
Eric McLeod's sedan was one of 2 Model Ts competing for the Stanosky Award, given to the most meticulously restored Model T of the year. It was going up against this 1909 touring model. Judges scan every nut, bolt, and cotter pin, even looking for original tools and manuals. McLeod says the time and money invested is well worth it.
Every stop, every gas stop is a mini car show.
The owners of these vehicles say mechanically they're not very hard to maintain or keep running. The passion goes into the restoration. Some take period authenticity to the next level, including dressing for the occasion. Nicolette and Joel Merlesmith came from Virginia.
You're driving around in vintage vehicles. Why not look the part?
Like so many others, the backstory to this vehicle is almost as interesting as the vehicle itself.
Some gentlemen were going to roll it down a hill into the dump, and he said, "Hold on a minute."
Nicolette's grandfather made the save, and the vehicle bounced from barn to barn, landing on the Merlesmith's property, just recently getting a new life.
It's sat in our barn for decades, and 2 years ago we started working on it. So it's now, actually, this is its first big trip.
A visit to the Plunkett estate also gave vehicle owners a picturesque spot to capture a memory of the trip. Philanthropist Steve Plunkett is a car enthusiast himself with a passion for Cadillacs. He felt it was a unique opportunity to be able to host the Model Ts.
It won't be back here again, so this is sort of a once in a lifetime.
The Model T tour started on the 19th and will continue until Friday.
This week we'll be traveling all through the Middlesex and Perth counties on the back roads, enjoying some of the scenery.
Schneider estimates that worldwide there's 100 to 150,000 Model Ts remaining. Jerry DeWan, CTV News.
When we come back, supply management in the spotlight, how Canada's dairy industry became a key factor in the latest tariff escalation. Plus, upending the agenda for Canada's premiers, the latest from the Council of the Federation and the provincial leaders' response. Welcome back. One of the key industries impacted by the new U.S. tariff threats is Canada's dairy sector, a market operating with strict protections. As Geneviève Beauchemin reports, it seems the Americans want those protections loosened.
Like 6 generations of his family before him, Angus McKinnon has produced milk just a stone's throw from the U.S. border. And he's been wondering when the American neighbors would target the industry.
We've been waiting for Donald Trump to come down on dairy for the last 2 years.
Under the current system, the tariffs will have little impact on producers themselves, though distributors might take a hit. But some producers have feared Canada's supply management system could be sacrificed to appease the U.S. Some critics in this country have said dairy should not be a sacred cow. The U.S. pointed to Canada's supply management system as a main irritant, justifying 50% tariffs, and put Canadian milk, lactose, and whey on the tariff hit list. Supply management sets quotas for Canadian dairy producers, fixes prices, but also limits dairy imports from the U.S. and other countries, imposing quotas and high tariffs.
Brings a great economic stability. We have a guaranteed price for our milk.
In a statement, the Dairy Farmers of Canada said dairy trade is covered by CUSMA, and the U.S. has been successful in accessing the Canadian market under this agreement. The association said that between 2019 and 2025, exports of U.S. products to Canada rose from $423 million to $1.06 billion. And dairy farmers say they're holding Ottawa to its word that supply management is here to stay. Canada is home to over 9,000 dairy farms, nearly half of which are in Quebec.
Quebec was built on agriculture.
Most are family-run with small herds. The state of Wisconsin alone produces more milk than Canada as a whole. But U.S. President Donald Trump has long said supply management is a highly protectionist barrier, treating American farmers unfairly.
You can see that he's positioning himself, because keep in mind, Middle America elected Donald Trump. Middle America is agriculture.
Milk producers will be watching closely over the next 30 days just what happens with the tariffs. Geneviève Beauchemin, CTV News, Coaticook, Quebec.
Meanwhile, Canadian premiers are on Prince Edward Island right now for the annual Council of the Federation gathering. As Maria Saru reports, yesterday's developments have completely shifted the agenda.
We've got a very busy schedule over the next 48 hours, 72 hours. This is going to make it a little busier.
Donald Trump's tariffs meant some rearranging for PEI's Premier Rob Lance hosting and chairing this week's Council of the Federation meetings. And as his counterparts arrived, some were losing patience with the U.S. president.
We need to stand up to the bully, and we need to hit him tariff to tariff.
There is not a chance in hell that U.S. alcohol is going back on the shelf in British Columbia. And the idea of the president that he can bully us into whatever he wishes is incorrect.
Several premiers said Ottawa has not asked them to reverse course on American alcohol bans.
No, the federal government hasn't asked me to lift it, and I will be supportive of the decisions made by all the premiers and the prime minister.
But Alberta and Saskatchewan already have. Both lifted their suspensions last year.
I want a trade agreement with the United States of America. They're our largest trading partner, have been for all of our life, yours and I's, and likely will be into the future. At the end of the day, why would you want to fight with your largest trading partner?
It's ultimately a province-by-province decision, but some are calling for a united response and a clear direction from the Prime Minister before new tariffs take effect in about a month.
Quebec's economy is really impacted by the tariffs, and we'll need to adopt a strategy.
We need a plan moving forward.
The premiers continue their talks tomorrow before Mark Carney joins them in person on Thursday. Maria Saru, CTV News, Charlottetown.
Back with Julie now on the desk. What's been an active day of weather so far. We've seen some rain, some thunderstorms in the area.
Yeah, some rounds of showers and thunderstorms. This morning we were expecting more in London, but they were just off to the east, but some heavy rain associated with it. This afternoon, London picked up the thunderstorms. This is from our high cam, as you can see, and watch as the storm rolls in. So it got extremely dark in our CTV London studios, and definitely seeing that rain and storm action come in. We need the rainfall. This is all ahead of a cold front that's making the move across the area tonight. Wind shifting northwest behind it, and the temperature starting to dip down. It'll be comfortable overnight. Forecast low about 14 degrees. On the hour at the London airport, temperatures 22, and the winds starting now to shift to the northwest with the passage of the front. We hit 26 degrees. That was our high this afternoon. It was a warm start to the day. As soon as that warm front moved in, you could notice the change. The air felt extremely humid through the early part of the day, and the muggy conditions lasted. Now that front coming through tonight, a secondary cold front will follow, and that's the cool air that will come in behind it. I didn't draw it on our satellite radar map tonight, but there's another frontal boundary here. As that slips through, that's the leading edge of the cooler air. So that comes in, and temperatures tomorrow with that northwest wind will be feeling quite cool, especially if you are along that shoreline of Lake Huron. We have some rain coming in right now towards Ipperwash Beach, Port Franks as well, Grand Bend. You'll likely see the dark sky, thunderstorms continuing. We do have the risk for some thunderstorms in London. Likely this band will start to fall apart over the next 30 minutes. There are no severe thunderstorm warnings associated with it, but there is the risk for some gusty winds as that storm blows through and some torrential rain. Record-breaking heat in through the interior of British Columbia today. Numerous records broken. And then as we move across the prairies, temperature is much more comfortable, especially in northwestern Ontario. Some good news tonight with some rainfall, and we are starting to see that concentration of smoke that's over the Great Lakes Basin really start to dissipate. Overnight, 14 degrees in London along the shoreline of Lake Erie, 15, and near Lake Huron, 15 degrees. Temperatures holding fairly steady first thing in the morning and slow to come up, so it won't be a big jump in the afternoon. Still a few showers, as you can see overnight. The probability of rain drops down to about a 40% chance overnight, and then first thing in the morning it'll briefly peak before dropping in the afternoon. Skies will clear back out. We'll be into lots of sunshine as the sun sets tomorrow evening, and it will be quite beautiful by late tomorrow afternoon. So enjoying the cooler conditions, and it'll be quite comfortable. Your forecast: high tomorrow in London, 23 degrees. Might be a bit difficult to get to that 23, but that's what we're expecting. And the winds out of the northwest, quite breezy, as I mentioned. As we head into Thursday, 23 holding, and then 26 degrees on Friday. A couple cool nights coming our way. And then as we head into Saturday, a mix of sun and cloud and 28. So heating back up for the weekend. 29 degrees on Sunday. A cold front comes in on Sunday. In advance of that front, the temperature will jump into the upper 20s, and it will feel like the mid 30s. The cold front will cross, and then we're back into some comfortable temperatures Monday into Tuesday. So this forecast will feature temperatures averaging close but a bit below normal for this time of year. So that's nice. Definitely a change if you're not a big fan of the heat. So we do have some cloud cover first thing tomorrow morning, and then we'll break out by the afternoon. Slight risk for showers across the area, but as you can see on the forecast model, they are very isolated. Thursday, Friday, full sunshine. Daytime highs back up to 25 degrees by Friday. Saturday looks gorgeous with a mix of sun and cloud. The cold front comes through on Sunday. Possibility of some thunderstorms with that front moving through because the air mass changing, dropping right off early next week, especially areas towards the Bruce Peninsula and Wyerton. You will see those temperatures in the low 20s. More comfortable conditions on the way, Carlyle. Definitely a change on the way. Still some showers and thunderstorms to get through this evening, and then we will see clearing conditions by tomorrow afternoon.
All right, Julie, thanks very much. Still ahead, when smoky skies aren't the only concern, rampant wildfires and their impact on Canada's forestry sector. And Lauren Stallone is back with us this week, and that means Behind the Likes is back as well, Lauren.
And it's been a while since we've eaten something on the desk, so we're bringing that back.
All right, that's coming up. Stay with us.
Has your child ever tried to get you to sign a contract for something they think they deserve?
I did it.
You did?
I actually did it. We'll talk about it tomorrow morning at 8:15.
Who's hungry, London? Growing Chefs Ontario presents the return of Londonlicious, July 24th to August 16th, spotlighting unique and delicious eats in the Forest City. Enter now at ctvlondon.ca for your chance to win dinner for two at one of the amazing restaurants.
Wildfires burning across the country are creating problems for Canada's forestry sector. Alex Carpa has more on the issues for Manitoba loggers.
So that is jack pine.
Grant Currian is looking over what he says is a dwindling supply of logs on his property. He's among Manitoba loggers worried about the long-term impact on the industry as wildfires rage across the country.
When you get a fire, you get a void in that inventory. So that means it's going to hit you, it's going to impact you down the road.
Currian says that impact is already being felt. Last year's wildfires burned nearly 9 million hectares across Canada, including 2.38 million hectares in Manitoba.
Supply has definitely dwindled. It is getting very concerning.
Canada's forest sector employs about 200,000 people and contributes more than $20 billion to the economy. Analysts say wildfires create a ripple effect across the industry by reducing the timber available for mills.
This is a seasonal thing where we get, the fires are around longer and longer as it goes, but the bigger problem is as the fires burn, that takes away more fiber for mills, and a lot of times you have to go back and salvage what you can.
The loss of timber also threatens jobs, particularly in rural and northern communities that rely on forestry. Experts fear an already active wildfire season could intensify.
It looks like a very active season. It's kind of reminiscent of 2024. Had a quiet start and then picked up, and that's exactly what 2026 is doing.
Despite the challenges, Currian says he'll do everything he can to keep his operation running.
The fires have gotten a lot worse.
Currian says provincial and federal governments should be investing more into wildfire prevention and suppression, saying stronger firefighting efforts are critical to protecting an industry that has become increasingly vulnerable. Alex Carpa, CTV News, Elma, Manitoba.
Negotiations between General Motors and Unifor are expected to begin next month. Union leaders say those talks will start August 10th in Toronto after recently reaching a deal with Ford. Unifor represents more than 4,600 members at Ontario GM facilities, including the Cami plant in Ingersoll, as well as operations in Woodstock, Oshawa, and St. Catharines. Union leaders describe the deal with Ford as a successful pattern-setting agreement, which includes 3% annual pay increases. Trade tensions didn't slow down North American markets today. In Toronto, the TSX gained 409 points. In New York, the Dow added 385, and the Nasdaq is up 329. The Canadian dollar fell a fifth of a cent today. On commodity markets, gold gained more than $60 an ounce. Oil rose $1.86 a barrel. When we come back, buy an American regardless of a ban, gauging Canadian appetites for U.S. alcohol and whether we'd buy if they were brought back. Welcome back. Premier Doug Ford says he won't back down from his ban on American booze until American authorities drop tariffs on Canadian autos and steel. In the meantime, there are questions over Canadian interest in buying U.S. alcohol if and when it returns to store shelves. Sanjay Maru reports.
For more than a year, American-made beer, wine, and spirits have been missing from Ontario shelves. And following the announcement of a new 50% tariff on certain Canadian goods, Premier Doug Ford says that is not about to change.
I'm tired of the bully trying to take our lunch money all the time. We always seem to be on our back heels. We need to be on the offense.
The Trump administration is citing Canada's restrictions on American alcohol as one justification for the new tariff set to take effect in about 4 weeks. But even if the two countries eventually reach a deal, there is another question. If American alcohol returns to Ontario shelves, would Canadians still buy it?
Why should we? After everything that's going on now, you should just take care of yourself.
I don't know. I guess I would be hesitant. It seems like there's such retaliation going back and forth. There's a lot of tempers flaring and such.
Recent polling, 2 polls were just conducted that show that the supermajority of Canadians still feel that an elbows-up approach to dealing with Americans is what they feel comfortable with.
Howard Ramos from Western University says the Buy Canadian movement has shown unusual staying power, with consumers generally following through on what they say about avoiding American products. He adds there has been some slippage over time, but the latest tariff threat will likely push more Canadians to dig in their heels and make that boycott even more entrenched.
As Trump gaslights Canadians and people from the rest of the world, sympathy towards the Trump regime, if not Americans, seems to harden.
The Premier says he would be happy to see the two sides reach a deal soon, but warns this latest round of tariffs would hit Ontario the hardest. As for the Prime Minister, Mark Carney says he and President Trump have agreed to intensify negotiations in the coming weeks.
Canadians, governments, business, labor will stand together to build Canada strong and to have a trading relationship with our North American partners that benefits everyone.
Sanjay Maru, CTV News.
New research is shedding light on potential health benefits from drinking coffee. The study found drinking up to 5 8-ounce cups a day may reduce the risk of type 2 diabetes, stroke, and heart failure. However, that's just black coffee with no sugar, sweeteners, flavors, or cream. The findings were published in the American Heart Institute's flagship journal. A new study suggests people who spend more time watching TV could be at higher risk of brain issues later in life. The researchers followed more than 1,700 adults in their early 50s who reported how often they watched television. More than 20 years later, brain scans found the people who watched the most TV were more likely to have brain changes associated with cognitive decline and dementia. However, the researchers say there may be other factors at play here. For example, participants were also asked how much of their workday they spent sitting, another potential contributing factor. Violence broke out in Argentina after the country's World Cup final defeat. Argentina lost Sunday 1-0 to Spain. After that, thousands of people in Buenos Aires clashed with riot police, hurling rocks and bottles. Officers responded with tear gas and water cannons, arresting at least 15 people. A record number of Canadians tuned in to watch the World Cup.
Lamine Yamal, Pedro Porro, Williams, and thundered in for Spain by Ferran Torres!
According to TSN, more than 30 million unique viewers watched at some point, roughly 75% of Canada's population. 6.4 million viewers tuned in for Sunday's final between Spain and Argentina, the most watched final ever in Canada. The tournament attracted a per-game audience of about 1.6 million viewers, up more than 50% from 2022. Both TSN and CTV are divisions of Bell Media. President Donald Trump was involved in Sunday's trophy presentation, lingering on stage long enough to get himself into Spain's celebrations. The FIFA president appeared to try and hurry Trump off the stage after handing the trophy off, but Trump hung around, ending up in several pictures with the champions. Later images shared by Spain and FIFA on social media had the U.S. president cropped out. White House officials then posted their own version with Trump back in the shot. Tomorrow on CTV News, an expanding program at London's Children's Hospital helping kids get over their fear of needles. The impact for young patients tomorrow on CTV News at 6.
Thank you
you to Jim McKenzie for our photo of the day. Clearing conditions by Wednesday afternoon, but a cool northwest wind. Temperatures comfortable Wednesday afternoon. Back to full sunshine Thursday and Friday, and we'll kick off the weekend with temperatures returning to the upper 20s.
Police in New York say they have one person in custody after an incendiary device was set off at the FBI's Manhattan headquarters. Footage from the scene shows smoke rising from the area as officers take someone into custody. The building also houses a field office for Immigration and Customs Enforcement, also known as ICE, and is not far from New York City Hall and federal courthouses. Thousands of protesters tried to march on India's parliament today, defying police orders demanding education reforms. Police used tear gas and batons, injuring several people. Weeks of peaceful protesting preceded all this, a movement started by young demonstrators calling themselves cockroaches in response to India's Chief Justice comparing unemployed young people to parasites. The campaign started as an online satire, gaining millions of followers, transforming into a nationwide on-ground movement. Animal shelters across southern Ontario are taking in cats and dogs rescued from wildfires in the province's north. They don't have enough room for all of them, though, which means fosters have had to step up. And with more on those efforts, here's Alexandra Hollick.
For this brother-sister dog duo, the road to safety was a long one. Ross and S'mores arrived in Guelph Saturday from a reserve in northern Ontario, their community one of dozens devastated by wildfires, forcing families to flee and in some cases leave their four-legged friends behind.
About 21 or 20 rescues across southern Ontario. Took in 112 animals in total.
Safe Paws Animal Rescue is part of a network of organizations giving cats and dogs from the north a second leash on life.
It really ranges what state they're in. We're expecting pregnant dogs, moms with puppies, young puppies, teenager puppies, adult seniors.
Part of the rescue mission is to offer temporary reprieve, placing the pets with foster families until it's safe to return home.
There's the other branch of it where there's the animals that are being officially fully surrendered by their families for various reasons, as well as the stray animals.
Vet teams are also on the ground in northern communities to microchip and vaccinate animals.
So that they're safe, so that if we move them to another humane society or a veterinary clinic, a boarding facility, anything like that, that they're well protected.
Protection extends beyond evacuation. Stacey Murphy is a registered vet tech with the Kitchener-Waterloo Humane Society. She says smoke inhalation from the wildfires is just as bad for pets as it is for humans.
If the air is not good for you to be breathing, it's not good for your animal either.
Urging pet owners to take precautions, especially during air quality warnings.
You know, if we're going outside with them, it's for short walks, to come back inside pretty quickly, monitoring them for signs of respiratory distress and taking them to the vet if something seems out of sorts.
In the meantime, while the smoky skies may have blown over in southern Ontario, a reminder of the raging wildfires lingers, knowing that many lives, including Ross and S'mores, have been forever changed. Alexandra Hollick, CTV News.
And on the other side of the break, Julie's back with us. And Lauren, we've got some sandwiches in front of us. And these feel like they might be the heftiest sandwiches I've ever held in my hand.
These are from Renee's Sandwich Shop. She's going viral, and we're going to get to taste these very soon.
We're going to dive in on the other side of the break. And before we go tonight, Behind the Lights with Lauren Stallone, Julie here as well, and 3 massive sandwiches in front of us right now, Lauren.
Yes, they look great. We haven't even unwrapped them yet, and they also smell great. That one is huge.
To them.
Yeah.
It's like a little weight. I literally it's heavy.
I can't wait. I just want to try them. These are from Renee's Sandwich Shop. Now, she's located on Dundas Street downtown, and the shop is going viral for their high quality ingredients and homemade options. They make all of their ingredients all day long, so it's really fresh and a healthier option if you're looking for that. Now, I went down to the shop to get Renee's opinion on social media and how it has been so impactful for her business and what it's been like to see the response on social media. We
do make everything in-house. We use quality ingredients. We bake our bread fresh literally all day long. It's not just deli meats. We cook all of our beef, our chicken. We make everything in-house, mixed also with amazing customer service. That's huge for us. I've never had to pay for marketing, which is amazing for a small business. So having influencers or just customers give us shout outs is absolutely huge for our business, and I really appreciate it.
As we were opening these up during that clip, Lauren piled the napkins here as well, which is, I think, a critical move.
They're needed.
Yeah.
They're needed. So this is the turkey brie. You have the Jesse's Girl, which is a breaded chicken cutlet, salami, and hot pepper. And Julie, yours is prosciutto Giovanni. Wow. So there's a lot going on. They smell amazing, and I think we just gotta
dive in. These are two halves stacked on top of each other.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is the bread that they make all day long in-house.
All right.
Oh my God.
I don't know if you just remembered that I like sweet and spicy things, because this is delicious.
It's a coincidence that you ended up with that one, but definitely.
Mine's so good.
Mine's really good as well. Apparently the turkey brie is their top seller.
Crowd pleaser, I believe it.
Yeah, and it's delicious. I'm gonna
have another bite. I mean, it's so good.
I know, as we've heard our feedback is that people like, well, we try to talk with our mouths full, but I will ask, because she mentioned in the clip about how she hasn't spent any money on marketing. I mean, this is not a sponsored segment, but I'm happy to say, go get a sandwich at Renee's.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing, right? And to see so many people coming to London and trying a local business. She did this. It was her favorite coffee shop. She bought the space to keep it in the family, in the city, and it's turned out amazing.
Support local.
It's a great story.
Renee,
I love it.
sure. That's it for us. We've got a lot of sandwich to dive into here. If you're enjoying your dinner, hope you enjoyed it half as much as we're enjoying these sandwiches. That's it. That's Behind the Lights with Lauren Salome. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you again tomorrow.